The truck market is in chaos. Just a year ago, dealers were bragging about long wait lists and sky-high markups. Today, they're practically begging people to take trucks off their hands. Prices that once touched luxury car levels are crashing, and what looks like a great deal is actually a red flag that something is deeply broken. For years, pickup trucks were the golden goose for car makers. High demand, huge profit margins, and buyers willing to stretch budgets for them. But the story flipped overnight. Factories kept cranking out trucks, convinced people would always buy. At the same time, rising interest rates made monthly payments painful, and families simply stopped signing up for debt that big. The result? Lots packed full of unsold trucks, costing dealers money every single day they sit there. Let's be clear, this collapse didn't come from one problem. It's a pile of bad bets, broken promises, and a market that finally hit its limit. Take electric trucks, for example. Automakers hyped them as the future. Ford's F-150 Lightning was sold as a game changer, and GM rolled out promises of electric Silverados and GM CS. But when people actually drove them, the shine wore off quick. Towing a boat or trailer? The range dropped by almost half. Cold weather? Same story. Huge drops in battery life. Owners felt burned and word spread fast. Suddenly, lots filled up with Lightnings nobody wanted, each one costing dealers $40 or $50 a day just to sit there. What was supposed to be a revolution turned into a headache. The luxury side didn't escape either. Remember the six-figure GMC Hummer EV? It was meant to scream prestige and power. Instead, it screamed bad investment. These massive machines sat on lots for months, their tires collecting dust while dealers paid thousands in interest just to keep them. The Escalade IQ wasn't much better, priced like a mansion, but unable to find a buyer. What was meant to be a flex became a flop. Even the so-called workhorse trucks, the ones farmers and contractors relied on for decades, have lost trust. Modern emission systems and complex parts turned reliable diesels into fragile messes. Stories of trucks breaking down at 30,000 miles aren't rare anymore. Some fleet owners spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on trucks, only to watch most of them end up in repair shops. These aren't just vehicles failing, it's livelihoods being put at risk. Part of the problem is that automakers push too much complexity. Cylinder deactivation, for instance, sounded clever on paper, shutting off some cylinders to save fuel. But in real life, it caused lifter failures that wrecked engines, often before 60,000 miles. The repair bills ran into the thousands. Buyers who had paid top dollar for new trucks felt completely betrayed. That feeling spread fast, and suddenly, trucks that once sold instantly became hard to move. And it didn't stop there. To keep up with the push toward electrification, companies loaded trucks with hybrids and turbo systems. But instead of boosting reliability, it made things worse. Toyota, famous for building trucks that lasted forever, rolled out a twin-turbo hybrid that quickly earned complaints about overheating and limp mode failures. Ford's PowerBoost hybrid had battery cooling issues that doubled repair costs. Instead of feeling like the bridge to the future, these trucks felt like expensive experiments people were forced to test. Even mid-sized trucks, which used to be the simple, reliable choice, fell into the same trap. Models like the Chevy Colorado or Ford Ranger promised practicality, but delivered glitchy transmissions, fragile electronics, and high prices almost as steep as full-size models. People bought them hoping for fewer headaches, but ended up paying more for less. Dealers, who once moved mid-sized trucks quickly, now watch them sit for months, racking up costs. Some trucks were abandoned altogether. Nissan killed the Titan after years of poor sales, leaving dealers with orphaned trucks no one wants. Buyers know discontinued models are trouble, harder to service, harder to resell, and harder to trust. Ram's classic lineup tried to recycle an old design for budget buyers, but the outdated features and ongoing issues made it a dead end. Hyundai's Santa Cruz, stuck between a car and a truck, couldn't win either audience. All these models turned into dead weight for dealers. The real heartbreak, though, is what this means for buyers. For decades, owning a truck was a dream. It was about pride, independence, and the idea that your vehicle could work as hard as you do. But when sticker prices jumped to $80,000 and payments climbed past $1,000 a month, the dream started crushing families instead of inspiring them. Add repair bills in the thousands and weeks of downtime waiting for parts, and trucks went from being a symbol of security to a financial trap. Meanwhile, dealers are bleeding. Every unsold truck on their lot drains $50 or more in interest daily. A truck that sits for 4 months can rack up $6,000 in hidden costs before it's even sold. Multiply that by dozens of trucks, and entire dealerships are suffocating. Managers who once bragged about having the biggest selection now quietly beg manufacturers to stop shipping them more inventory. The stress is real, and behind every shiny showroom is a lot of panic. This pressure is forcing car makers to retreat. Not long ago, companies like Ford and GM were pouring billions into new plants, betting on endless growth. But now, production cuts, delays, and market adjustments are the new reality. Expansion plans are shelved, shifts are cut, and local economies that depended on these factories are taking the hit. All of this is tearing at the cultural meaning of trucks. Once, they were a badge of pride, strength, independence, and even patriotism. Now, they often spark doubt or pity. People don't ask, "How powerful is it?" anymore. They ask, "How long until it breaks?" Or, "How can you afford that payment?" The badge of honor has turned into a burden. Government policies haven't helped. Tax credits, subsidies, and tariffs keep changing, making it impossible for buyers to plan. One year, you get a $7,500 credit for an electric truck. The next year, it's gone. Prices swing, buyers hesitate, and the whole market feels unstable. At the same time, workers on the assembly line are realizing their leverage. When production slows and inventory piles up, strikes hurt automakers more than ever. Unions are pushing harder for better pay and job security, knowing management can't afford long disruptions. Plant towns feel the stress, but also the pride of finally having a stronger voice. And while the US market struggles, rivals are circling. Chinese automakers are preparing cheaper trucks that cost half as much to build and sell for a fraction of the price. If tariffs shift, these imports could flood showrooms and undercut domestic brands even more. Global competition is no longer a distant threat. It's knocking on the door. But here's the twist. In the middle of all this chaos, buyers suddenly have the power. For the first time in decades, the market favors the consumer. Dealers can't afford to let trucks sit. That means you can negotiate harder, demand written warranties on known problem areas, and walk away if the numbers don't work. Trucks that would have cost you an arm and a leg a year ago can now be had for thousands less, if you play it smart. So the big picture? Trucks are no longer just trucks. They've become a battlefield of survival for dealers, corporations, and even entire communities. But for buyers, this collapse might be the chance to finally flip the script. Knowledge is power, and right now, it's your best weapon. If this video opened your eyes, don't just click away. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update, and tap the like button so more people can see what's really going on. Drop a comment below with your story, whether you're a buyer, a dealer, or just someone watching this unfold. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if you know a friend who's thinking about buying a truck, share this video with them before they walk into a financial trap.